Yes, we believe in the principle of peace. India may not have been a signatory of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, Ambassador Sajjan Har, and this is a crucial visit because this is happening at a time.
Welcome to our viewers. The stage, or should I say the stadium, is all set for Siddaramaiah and Karnataka Congress chief D K Shivakumar's oath-taking ceremony right now. The ceremony is slated to take place shortly in a while, in about 30 minutes from now, because it's all running on time. We have President Mallikarjun Kharge, the Congress president, who has approved the list of cabinet ministers. 8 ministers will be taking oath today, including Priyank Kharge, M.B. Patil, G. Parameshwara. The swearing-in ceremony is being pegged as a sure strength by the opposition parties as the Congress extended invitations to Bihar CM Nitish Kumar, Tamil Nadu CM M.K. Stalin, among others. We're joined by a host of our reporters. There on your screens, you have Kamal Hassan. The Congress there has clarified that they've invited CMs of their states and Congress allies. You have Kamal Hassan there, I believe Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka have already landed. We know that Siddaramaiah had gone to Delhi personally to invite the High Command of the Congress. That's the Sri Kanterva Stadium where it is going to be taking place, that oath-taking ceremony. And all the opposition leaders, especially the Congress CMs, Congress allies, they've all been invited. Some notable snubs there to Arvind Kejriwal, to KCR. The Congress there has clarified, saying that these invites were sent only to Congress CMs. When asked about the invitation that was sent to Mamata Banerjee, they said perhaps that was a personal invitation that had been extended. So there you go, on the stage, a huge show of opposition strength, opposition unity. Karnataka has been a silver bullet in the troubled political portfolio of the Congress, but now the Grand Old Party scrambling to the top of the mantle of the opposition, proving their might in Karnataka, and it is going to be a momentous day for the party. About 25,000 people can be seated at the Sri Kanterva Stadium, but they're expecting a crowd of about 60,000. It's a jubilant mood there at the Kanterva Stadium. We know that about 8 cabinet ministers will be sworn in today in Karnataka. M.B. Patil and G. Parameshwara perhaps will be placated because they were expecting that deputy CM post. We also have 6 other ministers apart from them that have been confirmed by the Congress so far, and all eyes on that cabinet. But 30 to 35 will be present in that cabinet. DKS and Sidda expected to get 10 leaders of their choice each in that cabinet. Now those cars departing from the Shangri-La Hotel, where all the politicians and guests are currently staying, making their way across to the Kanterva Stadium, where that oath-taking ceremony will be taking place at 12:30 p.m. today. After much deliberation, this ceremony is slated to take place with Siddaramaiah, who will be assuming the post of Chief Minister for the second time round. Remember, he's only the second person ever to complete that 5-year term as Chief Minister in Karnataka. He is somebody who has in the past rolled out some very popular welfare measures, kept up his promises, and he's been able to allocate about 25% of the budget for the marginalized communities. Modi and Biden meeting currently, we're cutting across to that. This is taking place at the G7 at Hiroshima right now. These are the live visuals that we're getting for you on the screen. Those are the visuals of PM Modi and Biden, who are meeting on the sidelines of the G7 summit.
में अगर हम कहें तो इतिहास हमारा और अमेरिका का एक जैसा रहा है। हम विश्व की सबसे जो बड़ी डेमोक्रेसी है वो है, तो अमेरिका सबसे पुरानी डेमोक्रेसी है। तो इन तस्वीरों के जरिए आप समझ सकते हैं कि विश्व का जो सबसे बड़ा लोकतंत्र है उसके सबसे बड़े नेता भारत के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी और विश्व का जो सबसे पुराना लोकतंत्र है अमेरिका, उसके प्रमुख जो बाइडेन, उनके बीच ये मुलाकात। और
Going across to my colleague Abhishek Jha. Abhishek, visuals there of PM Modi meeting Joe Biden on the sidelines of the G7. We know that the Quad leaders, including PM of Australia, Albanese, they were all scheduled to meet, and these are the visuals that we're getting live at this point in time.
And Prime Minister Modi was looking forward to meeting Joe Biden. We know that Prime Minister will be going to USA next month, where President Biden has invited him over a dinner in the last week of June. And before that, this meeting holds significance because these two leaders have the opportunity to engage and interact on the issues that they are going to discuss while they'll be having a bilateral meeting in USA as well. Also, India, Australia, Japan, and USA, all the members of Quad countries are going to have a Quad summit talks also in Hiroshima on the sidelines of the G7 meeting, because we know that President Biden had to pull out of that meeting that was slated to happen in Sydney, Australia, later this week, but because of his domestic issues of sovereign default and negotiation with the Republican side, he had to pull out from that meeting. And after that, it has been decided that all the leaders of Quad countries will be meeting in Hiroshima on the sidelines of G7. So before that, later in the evening also, these leaders are going to meet in that Quad format. Before that, Prime Minister Modi's meeting with Biden holds significance because it is coming at a time when India and USA are having a very strong and robust bilateral relationship in people-to-people exchanges, trade, commerce, defense, and all sort of global cooperation and regional cooperation are also becoming key focus area of the two sides.
Abhishek, at the G7 summit, PM Modi expected to talk about the global challenges such as food, fertilizer, and energy security. He has a number of bilaterals scheduled for the day. In fact, it's going to be a three-nation tour that he's embarked upon now, and Hiroshima is going to be the first one, the first stop.
The Shilpa, Prime Minister Modi is going to have this bilateral meeting. In fact, he has already met a couple of leaders, starting from host country Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. Then he met with his Vietnamese counterpart as well. Prime Minister has also engaged in some cultural activity because he had unveiled Mahatma Gandhi's first in Peace Memorial Park in Hiroshima in the morning today. And since then, he has also met some Indian personalities in Japan who have tried to strengthen the bilateral cooperation between India and Japan in cultural and people to be social exchanges and social domain. So, Prime Minister is having a very big schedule, and also this meeting that's happening with USA and other counterparts is significant because it gives an opportunity before the upcoming G20 meeting that India is going to host in the month of September. Of G7 are actually going to be part of that G20 meeting. G20 meet that is scheduled to happen in Delhi in the second week of September. This is kind of a fresh. This will give a moment to the to the upcoming meeting of G20 and what all issues should be discussed in that meeting.
Abhishek, India a guest at the G7 now, and the Gandhian influence has been a big talking point this time with that bust of Gandhi as well unveiled there. Talk us through the sort of impact we're expected to have.
Of course, Mahatma Gandhi is clearly an undoubtable figure at the world stage who had fought for his cause, for the freedom, for the most pious target without resorting to any violence or any. And this is the honesty, and this is the that Mahatma Gandhi had bore through his political life that has resulted in having so many leaders who advocated, the course of non-violence to achieve their larger goals, starting from Martin Luther King Jr. to Nelson Mandela. There have been other world leaders also who have espoused the teachings and lessons of Mahatma Gandhi. And at a time when the world is facing the most fearsome battle ongoing in Ukraine and between Ukraine and Russia. This is a time where India can again let the world know a little that issues of differences or mutual confrontation cannot solve through the means of violence. The place of Mahatma Gandhi's birth has been unveiled by Prime Minister Modi. There is a huge building, a dome, which was destroyed by the 78 years ago when the first nuclear bomb was dropped on the city of Hiroshima in the World War II. So, building hasn't yet in a similar manner to tell the world what it is of going to the city, and in front of that is the first who connect the tragedy of war and how, without having fought the war, who are in control.
Abhishek, those visuals there of PM Modi with Joe Biden, but he's already had a very productive day. He was received by a Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. He also met with the President of the Republic of Korea, Yoon Suk Yeol. Can you tell us about the matters that were on the table during these talks?
Of course, Prime Minister had a very productive meeting with all the three leaders that he has met in this morning. We know that India and South Korea, they are nations on the areas of technology transfer. In fact, the most advanced 5G telecommunication technology, something that India has been keen on getting from South Korea. And then there are other issues of semiconductor supply, automobile supply, and especially high-end technology component supplies from South Korea. So clearly, a very strong partnership has already been founded between the two sides, and on the top of it is Prime Minister Modi and South Korea's new president gets a chance to meet and interact. Clearly, that long-standing friendship and the strong partnership is going to only further from here onwards. Prime Minister also had a meeting with Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, where both the sides talked about the friendly ties that India and Japan have had. What they can do, strengthen security issues or technology transfer or other areas where both the country can collaborate. The Prime Minister has also met with his Vietnamese counterpart, and clearly these meetings are going to strengthen Prime Minister's stature as a world leader. At the same time, Prime Minister is going to advocate the cause of Global South. He said that he would like to raise the voice of Global South, their concerns, their challenges, their problems at a stage which is actually having one of the most, a grouping of most richest nations in the world. About 70 to 80% of the global GDP is concentrated in these countries, but they have hardly 20% of the population of the world. So clearly, the disproportionate distribution of wealth and population is something that is ailing the Global South. And, clearly this part of the world, the upper north hemisphere of the world needs to share their technology, their finances, their expertise to the Global South as well, so that the common challenges of the problems could be solved with that problem of course.
Right, let's try to re-establish that connection, and we'll take you through everything that's taken place so far. Today's very important bilateral set to take place with PM Zelenskyy, who has landed in Japan just a short while back. And let me go across to my colleague Maria Shakil, who joins us live from Hiroshima. Very good afternoon to you, Maria. Those visuals there of PM Modi meeting Joe Biden, India going from just being a participant at these summits to actually setting and leading that agenda now. Talk to us about how we are expected to steer the talks.
Yes, so India remains a part of the outreach session. G7 is limited to those 7 countries. But yes, these bilaterals taking place on the sidelines of G7, particularly with US President, becomes important because only next month the Prime Minister has been accorded a special visit, with a state visit, which Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be undertaking to Washington, D.C. Next month for bilateral talks with the United States. Having said that, there will be another meeting, which will be the Quad Summit, which will be taking place on the sidelines of G7 here in Hiroshima, in which the Quad leaders who were earlier planning to go to Canberra for that summit have all now descended here, and it was cancelled because Joe Biden will be flying out here from Hiroshima directly back to the United States because of the debt crisis. He won't be, flying to Australia for the summit. And now what we are seeing on our television screens becomes important because, this is the significance of India at the global stage. India being seen as the bright spot in the Indian economy, being seen as an oasis of hope when there is a crisis, happening in the developed nations of the world. And having a meeting on these lines, on the sidelines of G7 becomes even more important because, bilateral meetings of this nature, usually the G7 countries would be giving to those who are seen as G7 members, not to those who have been called for the outreach session, which includes India and 7 other countries. So I think these imagery that we see of Prime Minister Modi interacting with Joe Biden and others becomes particularly important. But, even as we speak, President Zelenskyy of Ukraine has just arrived in Hiroshima. His aircraft has landed, and in a couple of hours from now, President Zelenskyy will be meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi as well.
Maria, so far, PM Modi, who arrived at the meeting, has already had a lot of bilaterals. He's even met the Indian diaspora. He's met some cultural icons as well. Can you take us through the schedule so far and the sort of statements that have come in?
Yes, so his schedule so far has been that yesterday when he arrived around 8:30, 9 p.m. Japan time, he was welcomed by the Indian diaspora here in Hiroshima. They have come from Tokyo and other cities, to get a glimpse of the Prime Minister who has come. But I think the big messaging, as we have been saying, is about that unveiling of the Gandhi bust, which has happened earlier today. The Prime Minister sending a message that, yes, India may not have taken a very, very, belligerent position against Russia in this ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine because of its old association with Russia. But when it comes to its larger position on war, India is for peace because the greatest apostle of peace, which is Mahatma Gandhi, has been established inside the Hiroshima Park, the Hiroshima Memorial Peace Park, which stands for peace there. So I think that imagery is over. Now it is the time for meetings, the important meeting of bilaterals, which is presently happening. It's also about sending a message of, the cooperation, the need for energy security. India has been taking a position with regards to being the voice of the global south, and most of these countries are looking towards India, particularly trying to understand what are the aspirations of the global south.
Maya, also special focus on boosting commercial linkages and defense ties. That is going to be of big concern to India. All right, so those are the visuals there that we're getting you live from Hiroshima. PM Modi just met with Joe Biden on the sidelines of the G7. Those are the visuals there on your screen. And as our political editor, Maria Shakil those are the visuals there of Zelenskyy, who has landed in Hiroshima, Ukrainian PM, and in fact, it is one of the major areas of discussion at the G7 this year, that ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine, the sort of fallout that the countries have seen. And there you go, Zelenskyy making his way out from the airport, going across to my colleague Abhishek Jha. Abhishek, of course, PM Modi and Zelenskyy's bilateral meet is going to be of particular interest to us. But now Zelenskyy, who is a big talking point itself at the G7, he has now arrived at Hiroshima.
Of course, this was one of the much-awaited arrival at Hiroshima during this G7 meeting because of the current global context. Europe, the way it has supported Ukraine in this war against Russia. And the way G7's agenda has been focused on Russia-Ukraine war, bringing more support and solidarity to Ukraine, supporting Ukraine with more financial and military strength, and then also discussing the global implications of the current ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine, which has resulted in higher economic problems and higher cost of living, inflationary pressure, fuel shortage, food shortage, and other aspects of it. So clearly, Ukraine has been one of the key agenda of G7 leaders, and earlier it was believed that Zelenskyy would be participating in that meeting online, but now, finally, Zelenskyy, after having met world leaders at Arab League meeting in Jeddah, has reached to Hiroshima, where the G7 leaders are currently present, and he will be having over his course a stay of about 2 days. He is going to have a meeting of almost with all the G7 leaders, including President Biden, because the White House has now confirmed that it's safe to say that President Biden is going to have a meeting with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Also, Prime Minister Modi is going to have a bilateral meeting with Volodymyr Zelenskyy, and clearly that meeting is much awaited because the way India has been taking a neutral stand in this whole Russia-Ukraine conflict, and the way world perceives India's closeness with Russia as a traditional partner, as a defense partner, then clearly it is incumbent upon kind of, achieve some kind of information bridge that has been to bridge the gap between the two sides, if it can. Prime Minister has earlier said to the Russian president that it's not an era of war. At the same time, India has been supplying Ukraine with a lot of humanitarian aid and assistance in the past for people who have been impacted with the war between the two sides. So, in that context, the upcoming meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Zelenskyy holds significance, and we'll have to see what all issues are discussed, whether some role for mediation is also designed for India, or how does India look at this whole issue of Russia-Ukraine conflict and the way forward into it.
Abhishek, more sanctions on Russia as Zelenskyy arrives in Ukraine. Talk to us about the sort of sanctions that have been set at G7.
Clearly, G7, in fact, even before G7, there have been multiple, barrage of economic and trade sanctions that the West has imposed upon Russia. Yesterday only we have seen another sanction coming from UK on the trade and commerce of Russia. There has been this global oil price cap which was imposed on Russia so that Russia cannot earn enough revenue to apparently sustain its military operation in Ukraine. So there has been a solid economic coercion from the West, from European Union and NATO members, including Japan, to corner Russia in this war against Ukraine. However, the desired result of this economic coercion has not been achieved so far. Giving away this war or surrendering or in any way, pulling back from this war. In fact, the recent days we have seen the war only getting fiercer, and both sides are fighting with utmost ferocity in towns like Bakhmut, and then there are Russian missiles barrage falling upon various cities in Ukraine. So clearly, while the war is not ending anytime soon, the sanctions that the West is trying to impose, in thinking that it will somehow put pressure on Russia, its economy and its revenue, and Russia will have to come to the negotiating table, is something that is desirous to achieve. But so far, it hasn't been able to achieve that goal through economic sanction upon Russia. In fact, Russia has found new partners. India is one of them, because now one of the largest importer of Russian crude oil is India. And also, India is one of the largest supplier of Russian crude and its subsidiary product after refining it to the European countries. So clearly, the chain, the supply chain, the component that India has created itself in this whole gamut of Russian oil reaching to Europe is very interesting, where India is adding value to the Russian crude and supplying to European Union. So clearly, Russian oil is something, and its products are still being used by European countries very much.
Being used by European countries, but at the same time, EU keeps calling out India for not participating in those Russia sanctions, Abhishek. And now, with all these leaders present there, more pressure on India. On one hand, we were happy that this meeting was, the G7 summit was expected to reign in China. But on the other hand, we are going to be under tremendous pressure to participate in those sanctions against Russia.
In fact, India has been able to steer clear of this controversy and the pressure that West started to build upon in the initial days of war, where India did not condemn Russian action in Ukraine as per the wishes of West, or India did not stop buying crude from Russia. And that was kind of very, something that didn't go down well with the West. But because of India's current geopolitical strength and its geo-economic prowess, West cannot ignore the fact that India has its own 1.4 billion people also to feed upon and to look after. So clearly, what India is trying to do in terms of buying crude oil from Russia is to sustain the high rate of growth that India has achieved in the last few years, and it cannot compromise on that high rate of growth. It has a lot of millions of people to bring, above poverty line. It has, to maintain the high GDP growth rate. So to have that, it needs a continuous supply of energy and cheaper energy at best. So West did understand this fact, but they understood this fact after a few months from the start of the war. But now we have seen even the Ukrainian side is willing to engage with India. Recently, Ukraine's deputy foreign minister was in India, trying to call India, trying to term India as a Vishwaguru and some big country which has a good relationship with Russia and can bring some sort of peace or negotiation or diplomatic, break in this whole crisis. So now the West has understood the importance of India, not only with Russia, but also if you talk about South China Sea or the problems that the West Bloc is facing with the economic and strategic rise of China. India is also a key partner in containing that Chinese pressure on the world economy as well. So with the kind of geopolitical location India is, and the strength and the kind of diplomatic maturity India has shown in the past, world has now accepted India's point of view of neutrality on the issue of Russia and Ukraine war. India has maintained that it is on the side of peace. It has called for cessation of all hostilities, and both the sides to come on the discussion table and find a peaceful way to this conflict.
All right, Abhishek, you're telling us that despite the fact that there is a lot of pressure on India on participating in those sanctions against Russia, we are able to maintain neutrality, we are able to maintain a diplomatically neutral position, and it is going to be an important moment for India. Remember, after the sort of prominence that we have with SCO, or the kind of prominence that we have with hosting the G20, the participation India is showing in these summits while furthering our own agenda, but also being managed to not be steered into a conversation we don't want to be a part of, that is something that is to be definitely discussed. And in fact, we're joined by Mr. Ashok Sajanhar, former diplomat. Sir, very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us. We're talking about the sort of delicate position that India has at the G7 summit. On one hand, there is going to be talks about reigning in China. There are going to be sanctions imposed, already sanctions imposed on China. On the other hand, pressure on India to participate in those sanctions against Russia. How do you view that? Because many believe that India can still continue that delicate balancing act.
Yeah, I think the Prime Minister, in his interview to Nikkei Asia just before he left, I think he's made it very clear that our position is one favoring peace, and we support diplomacy and dialogue between the two countries. We are against war. This is what the Prime Minister had told Mr. Putin last year also in Samarkand, that this is not an era of war. And I think we have been able to articulate our position quite well, quite effectively. And while there may be not total acceptance of our position, but I think there is grudging recognition that India has very strong arguments for this. You would have seen even Chancellor Olaf Scholz speaking about it as to why it is the developing countries, India and some of the others, they are not fully on board as far as condemning Russia is concerned. We have not violated any of the sanctions that have been imposed on Russia. We have been buying oil that is not under a sanction as such. So I think we are, and we have spoken out very clearly in favor of upholding the UN Charter, the UN principles, also in terms of the territorial integrity and sovereignty of states. So we have said all these particular elements and maintained our position, and I think the international community has recognized the significance and the persuasiveness of our arguments.
So while in the G7 summit and also the upcoming Quad leaders meeting, there will be an exploration of collective solutions. What do you expect to be India's biggest concerns and perhaps even demands from these discussions?
You see, as far as G7 is concerned, let's look at it. India is a guest country. India is an invited country. India is not a member of G7 per se. So definitely India is going to project its own views, and it is going to project the views of the global south. Because both in its capacity as the presidency of G20, as also in its capacity, informal capacity as representative.
Now it is time for that oath-taking ceremony in Karnataka. There you go, Chief Minister-elect Siddaramaiah, who will very, very soon become Chief Minister.
has held important portfolios in the past. He has been Deputy Chief Minister twice. He has been Chief Minister. He is going to be the Chief Minister once again. Siddaramaiah represents Kuruba community, the shepherds, who are about 7% of the state population. But moreover, Siddaramaiah is the leader of the Ahinda, the minorities, backward classes and Dalits combination in Karnataka, which is the largest vote bloc. So Siddaramaiah is a pan-Karnataka leader from Mysore to Bidar and also from Kolar to Belgaum. D K Shivakumar is a Vakkaliga leader, a party strongman and organizations man, and D K Shivakumar ably led the party in the recent run-up to the assembly election, and D K Shivakumar is also a strong leader. They will have to work together this time because D K Shivakumar tried his best to get the Chief Minister's post, but finally High Command convinced D K Shivakumar to accept the number 2 position in Siddaramaiah government, and Siddaramaiah is the Chief Minister and D K Shivakumar is the Deputy Chief Minister who is number 2 in the government. Both will have to work together because they fought the election together, and the people of Karnataka and also the Congress party cadre are hoping that both of them will work together without any drama in future.
Well, yes, indeed. On one side, you have Siddaramaiah with almost 5 decades experience, and DK is also not a young player. He has about 3 decades under his belt. Satish, also, we have all these opposition leaders on stage that we see. We're also joined by Pallavi Ghosh, our senior editor. Very good afternoon to you, Pallavi. Those leaders there on the screen, you have MK Stalin, Sharad Pawar, Farooq Abdullah, you have Mehbooba Mufti. So they've all come out in full strength to support. I believe that oath-taking ceremony starting right now. Pallavi, I believe that oath-taking ceremony starting there right now. Very jubilant mood there for the Congress, even for the allies.
Yes. Yes, Shilpa, because this is a big opportunity for the Congress party and also for the opposition parties. For the Congress, because they think that defeating BJP in a big state like Karnataka is a kind of vindication for whatever they have been standing for. Disqualification of Rahul Gandhi, a fight against what they call a divisive politics of the BJP. And therefore, they certainly want to make it a show with a lot of pomp and glory. So all the Congress chief ministers, top Congress leaders, Gandhi family, all of them, but naturally there. But more than that, it's also going to be a kind of muscle flexing as far as the opposition is concerned. Barring Mamata Banerjee, who personally hasn't come, but because of prior engagements, she sent a representative. I think all the top leaders of opposition parties are very much there, which of course gives rise to this entire talk about whether once again the opposition is going to try and come together and on a foothold of one victory to try and make a claim for 2024 Lok Sabha elections. They certainly tried that in 2018 when again the opposition had come together in Bengaluru in a show of strength with the JDS and the Congress government had taken oath. But we saw that by 2019 that unity had fallen apart. This time the times are more challenging. The opposition parties feel that it's do or die, it's now or never. So definitely that is going to be one of the big opportunities they are going to be looking at.
Please stay with us. Let's hear in. Let's listen in to that oath-taking ceremony. It's underway right now.
ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯ ಎಂಬ ಹೆಸರಿನ ನಾನು ಕಾನೂನಿನ ಮೂಲಕ ಸ್ಥಾಪಿತವಾದ ಭಾರತದ ಸಂವಿಧಾನದ ವಿಷಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಜವಾದ ಶ್ರದ್ಧೆಯನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿರುತ್ತೇನೆಂದು ನಾನು ಭಾರತದ ಸಾರ್ವಭೌಮತ್ವವನ್ನು ಮತ್ತು ಅಖಂಡತೆಯನ್ನು ಎತ್ತಿ ಹಿಡಿಯುತ್ತೇನೆಂದು ಮತ್ತು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾಗಿ ನನ್ನ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ಶ್ರದ್ಧಾಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ಅಂತಃಕರಣಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ನಿರ್ವಹಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆಂದು ಭಯ ಅಥವಾ ಪಕ್ಷಪಾತವಿಲ್ಲದೆ ರಾಗದ್ವೇಷವಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಗೆಯ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಸಂವಿಧಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಮತ್ತು ಕಾನೂನಿಗೆ ಅನುಸಾರವಾಗಿ ನ್ಯಾಯವಾದುದನ್ನೇ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೇನೆಂದು ದೇವರ ಹೆಸರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೇನೆ.
ನಾನು
ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯ ಎಂಬ ಹೆಸರಿನ ನಾನು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾಗಿ ನನ್ನ ಪರ್ಯಾಲೋಚನೆಗೆ ತರಲಾಗುವ ಅಥವಾ ನನಗೆ ತಿಳಿದು ಬರುವ ಯಾವುದೇ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನು ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾಗಿ ನನ್ನ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯಗಳ ಯುಕ್ತ ನಿರ್ವಹಣೆಗೆ ಅಗತ್ಯವಾಗಬಹುದಾದ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲದೆ ಅನ್ಯಥಾ ಯಾರೇ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಕ್ಷವಾಗಿ ಅಥವಾ ಪರೋಕ್ಷವಾಗಿ ತಿಳಿಸುವುದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಥವಾ ಬಹಿರಂಗಪಡಿಸುವುದಿಲ್ಲ ಎಂದು ದೇವರ ಹೆಸರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೇನೆ.
Right, we just saw Siddaramaiah being sworn in, that oath being administered by the Governor of Karnataka, Thawar Chand Gehlot. And to huge cheers, you have Siddaramaiah there assuming term for the second time around. We expect TKS to be sworn in very shortly as well. He's completing those procedures. Even CMs have to do paperwork, as you can see. So right there, Siddaramaiah at the Sri Kantirva Stadium, and Karnataka has its new CM. The momentous day for the Congress there. And you can listen in to the sort of cheers that are coming in. The mood is absolutely jubilant, and it is with the huge support of the Congress that's there right from the High Command, from Rahul and Priyanka Gandhi to the CMs of the different states, from Hemant Soren to Bhupesh Baghel to Nitish Kumar to Ashok Gehlot. They're all expected to be there. You have Mehbooba Mufti there on stage. Everybody greeting the new Chief Minister of Karnataka there on stage. Siddaramaiah, for the second time, a hugely popular Chief Minister in his term of 2013 to 2018, known for the sort of welfare measures he was able to set in place. And it is this popularity that has propelled him to this seat for the second time in town. He is a very able leader and somebody who is
D K Shivakumar ಇವರನ್ನು ಉಪಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾಗಿ ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಪದ ಹಾಗೂ ಗೋಪ್ಯತಾ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ ವಚನ ಸ್ವೀಕರಿಸಲು ವೇದಿಕೆಗೆ ಆಹ್ವಾನಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆ.
ನಾನು ಡಿ ಕೆ ಶಿವಕುಮಾರ್ ಎಂಬ ಹೆಸರಿನಾದ ನಾನು ಕಾನೂನು ಮೂಲಕ ಸ್ಥಾಪಿತವಾದ ಭಾರತದ ಸಂವಿಧಾನ ವಿಷಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಜವಾದ ಶ್ರದ್ಧೆ ಮತ್ತು ನಿಷ್ಠೆಯನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿರುತ್ತೇನೆಂದು ನಾನು ಭಾರತದ ಸಾರ್ವಭೌಮತ್ವವನ್ನು ಮತ್ತು ಅಖಂಡತೆಯನ್ನು ಎತ್ತಿ ಹಿಡಿಯುತ್ತೇನೆಂದು ಮತ್ತು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಉಪಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾಗಿ ನನ್ನ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯವನ್ನು ಶ್ರದ್ಧಾಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ಅಂತಃಕರಣದ ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ನಿರ್ವಹಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆಂದು ಭಯ ಅಥವಾ ಪಕ್ಷಪಾತವಿಲ್ಲದೆ ರಾಗ ದ್ವೇಷವಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಗೆಯ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಸಂವಿಧಾನ ಮತ್ತು ಕಾನೂನಿಗೆ ಅನುಸಾರವಾಗಿ ನ್ಯಾಯಯುತವಾಗಿರೆಂದು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೇನೆಂದು ಶ್ರೀ ಗಂಗಾಧರ ಅಜ್ಜನ ಹೆಸರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಶ್ರದ್ಧಾಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ದೃಢೀಕರಣವನ್ನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೇನೆ. ನಾನು ಡಿ ಕೆ ಶಿವಕುಮಾರ್ ಎಂಬ ಹೆಸರು ನಾನು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಉಪಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾಗಿ ನನ್ನ ಪರ್ಯಾಲೋಚನೆಗೆ ತರಲಾಗುವಾದಂಥ ಅಥವಾ ನನ್ನ ತಿಳಿಯ ಬಯಸುವ ಯಾವುದೇ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನು ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಉಪಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾಗಿ ನನ್ನ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯಯುಕ್ತ ನಿರ್ವಹಣೆ ಅಗತ್ಯಬಹುದಾದಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭಗಳಲ್ಲದೆ ಅನ್ಯಥಾ ಯಾವುದೇ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಅಥವಾ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಕ್ಷವಾಗಿ ಅಥವಾ ಪರೋಕ್ಷವಾಗಿ ತಿಳಿಸುವುದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಥವಾ ಬಹಿರಂಗಪಡಿಸುವುದಿಲ್ಲ ಎಂದು ಗಂಗಾಧರ ಹಜ್ರ ಹೆಸರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ದೃಢೀಕರಣ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೇನೆ.
So there you have it, Karnataka's new deputy CM. That is the ninth term, the ninth deputy CM of Karnataka, DKS, taking oath there. He's somebody who's been with the party for 30 years. And let's remember, he was also quite clear that he was not going to become the deputy CM. For a point, it looked like he wanted that post of chief minister or nothing. But let's go across to our guests and talk to them about all the latest developments in Karnataka. We have R.K. Upadhyay, senior journalist. Very good afternoon to you, sir. Visuals there of DKS, Deputy CM of Karnataka, Siddaramaiah, the Karnataka CM. We thought these discussions were going to take a longer time. It looked for a moment that there could even be a new player such as Kharge, who could come in and take over that mantle. But now, Sidda, the CM, DKS, the Deputy CM, did you expect it to play out this way?
So intense, debate, discussion, fight, or whatever you can call it. They have been finally decided. They have been able to decide on the chief minister and deputy chief minister. And today they have this oath ceremony where 8 ministers are being included. Of course, till late into the night, we were given to understand that there will be 25 ministers being sworn in. And suddenly, early in the morning, only Siddaramaiah and Shivakumar have come back from Delhi. And we find there are only 8 now. So, which means that there is so much of competition for, the ministership, and it's not going to be easy. These are early indications of how difficult it is and how challenging it is going to be for Siddaramaiah to run this government. As a small aside, Mr. Shivakumar took the oath. When he took the oath, he said, I have been sworn in as Deputy Chief Minister. In the Constitution, there is no such thing as Deputy Chief Minister. You just take oath as a Chief Minister or Minister, and then you are designated, just that. And then also you have to take oath in the name of God or a Constitution. But he took the oath in the name of his granddaughter, I suppose it's a grandfather. These are small things that the politicians forget, because these are not constitutional, issues which should not be forgotten. But anyway, that being aside, I feel that this good beginning they're making, in the sense that they've selected the most, experienced persons for the 8 slots that they have, and it's been very carefully done, giving representation to most, communities. Siddaramaiah himself comes from Kuruba community. Shivakumar represents the Okaligas, and then you have Parameshwar, who is a scheduled caste, right hand, and then you have Muniappa, who's a scheduled caste, left hand, Ramlinga Reddy, who's a Reddy Okaliga, KJ George, who's a Christian, and then Jamir Ahmad Khan, who's a Muslim. So broadly, they have given representation to all these communities. But then there are issues as far as regional representation is concerned, because there's no representation from the central Karnataka, which is one of the major areas from which Congress made very big gains. And then not much of representation for Kitturu Karnataka as well as Kalyana Karnataka. And these are the areas which really help Congress to get this kind of a majority. Hopefully, these mistakes will be corrected when the expansion happens. We don't know when it's going to happen. There is already voices of dissent that they have not been included. Mr. Deshpande, who's a 9-time MLA, has already expressed his dissatisfaction that he's not been taken into the cabinet. And there was also Mr. Mahadevappa, who's a right-hand man of Siddaramaiah, from scheduled caste community. He has also said, I'm not very happy that I've not been considered. So these things will be there for a few days, and hopefully Mr. Siddaramaiah, with his experience, he should be able to overcome all that and give a good government for Karnataka, which is what people are expecting.
Absolutely. Speaking of dissent, we just had G. Parameshwar being sworn in as a minister into that cabinet. He's waving to the crowd right now. Also going across to Neerja Chaudhary, senior journalist. Ma'am, now the first list has been released by Congress. We were just talking about the names from MB Patil to G Parameshwara to Satish Jarkiholi, KJ George, Zamir Ahmad. There is been an attempt to accommodate all castes, all communities, but it is going to be a tough job to accommodate the sort of demands that have come in from the number of voters, the number of communities that have stood by the Congress.
I think that's natural. Look, this is a milestone moment today in Karnataka's history, and the country is watching Karnataka, and particularly Mr. Siddaramaiah, the new Chief Minister, and his deputy D K Shivakumar, with great interest in how they handle the challenges before them in the coming days, weeks, and months. Because a lot hinges on how they begin to deliver on the promises that the party made. What will happen in other states will hinge on this. In many ways, what happens in the national election next year will hinge on how the new team fares in the coming weeks. So having said that, yes, it's a big challenge. People's aspirations have risen with that kind of a victory in which everybody has played a role, and therefore they will want their share of power. And how Mr. Siddaramaiah and Mr. D K Shivakumar actually handle it and satisfy those aspirations, of course, there's a lot in the hands of a government. To give people different tasks. And I think we will, as you said, the new Rainbow Coalition that the party represents, major communities have been given in the ministers sworn in today, but more will come in the coming days because this is only 8 ministers. But I also found it a bit peculiar, for Mr. D K Shivakumar to be sworn in as Deputy CM. We have not heard. There's no provision for a Deputy CM in the Constitution. As one of my co-panelists said, I remember Mr. Devi Lal, who in VP Singh's time in 1989 was sworn in as Deputy CM. The president at that time, R. Venkatraman, kept repeating, interrupting him and said, Minister, as minister, oath as minister. But he insisted on deputy prime minister at that time. Therefore, these are very small things, but the constitution is sacrosanct and must be sacrosanct. A minister is designated as a deputy chief minister afterwards and given the portfolio, and we hear that Mr. Shivakumar might get the home portfolio and several others. So all good wishes to this new team, and people look forward to the 5 guarantees being implemented in the first cabinet minister.
Absolutely,
cabinet meeting.
Those 5 guarantees, how many will be passed in the first meeting? Request you stay with us. Neerja Chaudhary, also Mr. R.K. Upadhyay, my journalists, my colleagues, our esteemed journalists, please stay with us. Let's move into a very short break. We'll be right back.
Have also come up. So yes, a lot of music around and colorful environment basically that one can really see at the Kantirava Stadium. But meanwhile, we did see how the scene was right outside Siddaramaiah's residence as well. Most of his supporters were all there with the gifts and the bouquets as well to just get the glimpses of Siddaramaiah, wish him all the best as well. And with that, we did try and speak to a few supporters of what kind of governance that they are really looking forward to. So yes, most of them do have hope on Siddaramaiah because in 2013, that's how he ruled the state, where bringing in so many schemes, social welfare schemes, and that really worked out well for the people in the state. And this time again the party coming out with the 5 guarantees. So that is really something that the people are looking forward to. They say that that's really going to help the people of Karnataka. So that's the sort of the atmosphere at this point in time. But yes, the oath ceremony is going to take place very shortly. But we do know right now that D K Shivakumar and Siddaramaiah, both of them are at the hotel, Shangri-La Hotel, where Gandhis are there. So they're going to meet them there, and from there on they will be leaving to Kantirava Stadium where the oath ceremony, the oath taking ceremony will take place. Now remember 2013.
Alright, so do stay with us. We're going to be crossing back over to CNN News 18's Aksha. Aksha, give us an update on what's going on around you.
Well, right now all the top leaders from the state, Karnataka state and the nation as well are here at the Shangri-La Hotel. Here, just now Siddaramaiah arrived here along with his family, and you also had Mallikarjun Kharge, the AICC chief, along with Randeep Surjewala, KC Venugopal in the same car arrived at the venue. Right now inside they are meeting the Gandhis. They are with the Gandhis right now, Priyanka Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi. So everyone, including Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, along with Deputy Chief Minister D K Shivakumar, who will be taking oath today, are inside this particular venue. So we are also getting to learn that we have Siddaramaiah Sworn In, Mehbooba Mufti, Farooq Abdullah and various other leaders along with the Gandhis. The main opposition for the Lok Sabha polls 2024 are inside this particular hotel. So very soon you will get to see all the leaders arriving here, exiting this particular venue and heading towards the Kantirava Stadium. As you can see in the visuals, a bus also has been arranged where it is taking all the Congress leaders as well from across the state, Congress leaders, ministers, MLAs in this particular bus which is coming right now, and all of them are heading towards the Shangri-La Hotel, including Siddaramaiah Sworn In as well from the Communist Party. So as you can see in the visuals, we are getting you the visuals of all the MLAs here, Congress leaders. You also have Indian Youth President B.V. Srinivas also in this particular vehicle, who will be heading towards the Kantirava Stadium. So all the main politicians of the opposition party here from the Congress party are heading towards the Kantirava Stadium right from this particular venue. So soon, very shortly, we will get to see all the ministers, chief ministers, including the Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, Deputy Chief Minister D K Shivakumar, along with the Gandhis and the AICC Chief Mallikarjun Kharge, very shortly heading towards the Kantirava Stadium where the oath-taking ceremony will be taking place. So right now you are getting the visuals of all the Congress MLAs and leaders in a big bus heading towards the Kantirava Stadium right now.
Absolutely. Can you tell us more about the preparations that are underway for the swearing-in ceremony?
Well, yesterday itself, all the preparations were on full swing. You had, seating arrangements being made, the stage being set up for more than 1 lakh people who are supposed to be attending this event today. And people across the state have been arriving at this particular venue right from the morning, and it's been completely packed there, as you can see in the visuals. And today we also got to see all the leaders, chief ministers arriving at Bengaluru. And yesterday night itself, you had Ashok Gehlot and various other chief ministers like former chief minister Mehbooba Mufti, along with MK Stalin as well, arriving at will be taking part in this vote-taking ceremony. And today you had the main leaders, the Gandhis, arriving here to witness this vote-taking ceremony. The new government will be formed, and right after there will also be a cabinet meeting headed by CM Siddaramaiah, where they will be discussing regarding the 5 guarantees along with the other ministers who will be taking oath today. And as Chief Mallikarjun Kharge and Chief Minister Siddaramaiah himself has said, the Gandhis are also, Gandhis also will be addressing the 5 main guarantees promised by the Congress here in Karnataka state. So you'll also get to see the main leaders addressing regarding this 5 main guarantees, promising the people of Karnataka here. So discussion will be surrounding these 5 guarantees mainly in the first cabinet session as well. So everything will be out very shortly once the vote-taking ceremony takes place here in Bengaluru.
Absolutely. We are also going to be crossing over to CNN News 18 senior editor Pallavi Ghosh, who's also joining us to get us more of a perspective.
Siddaramaiah has assumed office as the 22nd Chief Minister of Karnataka. And you have also D K Shivakumar, who is thrown into the cabinet. Our guest on this program clarified there is no Deputy Chief Minister post in the Constitution. Despite that, D K is sworn in as Deputy Chief Minister. Those are the visuals there on your screen. And 8 cabinet ministers are also going to be sworn in today in Karnataka. This after days of confusion, days of discussion, a lot of political tussle, hectic parleys. Karnataka has got this new government. Siddaramaiah and DKS took oath as the new CM and Deputy CM respectively just a few minutes ago. Along with Sidda and DKS, 8 ministers also taking oath, including Priyanka Kharge, MB Patil, G Parmeshwara. And the swearing-in ceremony is being pegged as a show of strength by the opposition parties as the Congress extended invitations to Bihar CM Nitish Kumar, Tamil Nadu CM MK Stalin, who is present on stage currently, in fact, among others. Going across to my colleague DP Satish. Satish, we have the new CM and the new Deputy CM of Karnataka, new 8 cabinet ministers being sworn in so far. And the first challenge will be to deliver on those 5 guarantees on the back of which Congress has won. And also secondly, because they've highlighted the issue of corruption so much in Karnataka, 40% Sarkara is what led to the downfall of that incumbent BJP government. They're also responsible for weeding out the corruption.
Yes, the first challenge is keeping their promises. They will have to deliver on their promises. These 5 guarantees, rupees 2,000 per month to every housewife, then 200 up to 200 unit power free, then also free bus travel in KSRTC buses for women, then stipend to graduates 3,000 and diploma holders another 1,500, and 10 kilo free rice to BPL families. These 5 guarantees they will have to implement immediately. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, who has campaigned extensively across Karnataka, has made it clear that before the voting he made it clear that Congress government, the moment it comes to power, will take the decision in its first cabinet meeting. After the swearing in ceremony, the chief minister will have to chair the cabinet meeting. That is a custom, and I am sure after this they will all go back to Vidhana Saudha, the state assembly building, and also the secretariat, where the chief minister will hold his first cabinet meeting. And in this cabinet meeting he is likely to sign a government record, government document. And secondly, this government came to power on that 40% corruption allegations against the BJP. As you have rightly said, this government will have to ensure that there will be no corruption charges against the government. If there are any corruption charges against the government, then they will have to pay a heavy price for that, like the BJP paid in the just concluded assembly elections. And Siddaramaiah will have to tread cautiously, and he will have to handle all these contradictions.
Absolutely, Satish. Stay with us. We're also joined by Mr. Rashid Kidwai, very popular journalist, author and political analyst. Very good afternoon to you, sir. We were just talking about the sort of challenges that the Congress has cut out in front of it. But first, it is a huge victory for the Congress, the first big state that they've won in 5 years. As we keep saying, it's a shot in the arm, it's a silver bullet for the party, but also a big challenge to make sure it doesn't go the Rajasthan way.
Yes, Shilpa, you see the Congress track record of contesting against BJP and winning in a decisive way has been quite poor since 2014. So almost 90% of the time the Congress has lost. So this victory is a very significant one because it gives Congress a dash of hope. Now the next round of election is there in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh. If the Congress manages to get at least 2 states from to its kitty, then that will set a very good sort of contest for 2024. It is often said that the parliament elections are different, assembly elections are different, but I think if Karnataka template is followed, then this will become very close, because in Karnataka, Congress manages to just 80 Lok Sabha seats. That's the
Let me try and fix that audio with Mr. Rashid Kidwai, going back to my colleague DP Satish. Satish, 8 cabinet ministers who are swearing in today, from Priyanka Kharge, G Parmeshwara, MB Patil, KJ George. We see the sort of accommodation made for the communities, but also let's talk about the prowess that all these ministers have, because they are winners in this election. They are people with a studded portfolio, especially when it comes to the sort of wins that they've had. Talk to us about their achievements and also the sort of prominence you expect them to get in the cabinet.
See, out of the 8 ministers, 6 are very well experienced, because MB Patil, the third most important Congress leader who has just taken oath as a cabinet minister, is from Kittur, Karnataka, or what was earlier known as Mumbai, Karnataka region. He is Congress's Lingayat face, and he was also in the race for the post of a deputy chief minister, and he narrowly missed it because D K Shivakumar insisted that he should be the only deputy chief minister in the cabinet. That's why MB Patil hasn't been made a deputy chief minister. And MB Patil has held water resources and home portfolio earlier, and he is also an experienced person, 6-time MLA and 1-time MP. And his inclusion into the cabinet was expected. And you take Ramalinga Reddy, 8-time MLA from Bengaluru city. He is also an experienced minister. He was already a minister in the Veerappa Moily government in the 90s. He has won 8 straight elections from southern part of the city. He is also an important man. He is a very well experienced man. KJ George is a Christian face of the Congress, another very well experienced man. He was Youth Congress president in the 80s. And KJ George was a minister in the Virendra Patil government. He was in 1989. He was a transport minister. Later in the Bangarappa government, he was urban development minister. He is a 6-time MLA. He was Home Minister and Bengaluru Development Minister, and he is also another very important leader. And we have Dr. G. Parameshwara, SC leader from neighboring Tumkuru district, and has been an MLA since 1989. He has also held very important portfolios in the previous governments. He was also the Congress state president for 7 years. And we have Priyank Kharge, son of Mallikarjun Kharge. He is from Gulbarga, the Hyderabad, Karnataka, what is now known as Kalyan, Karnataka region. And there he is a Dalit, and he is a 3rd-time MLA. He was earlier IT, BT, tourism and social welfare minister, and he has once again joined the cabinet. We have KH Muniappa. He is a 1st-time MLA, but he is a 7-time MP. He represented Kolar in the parliament 7 straight terms between 1991 and 2019, and he was union minister for 10 years between 2004 and 2014. Among the Dalits, he is from the left, what we call, who are the majority among the Dalits. And we have many. Satish Jarkiwali, another tribal leader, ST leader from Belgaum. Satish Jarkiwali is one of the working presidents of the state Congress and also the ST face of the Congress. He is also a well-experienced man. We have Jabir Ahmad Khan, the Muslim face of the Congress, who is from Bengaluru city, who was earlier with JDS. And everyone was expecting UT Khadr to join cabinet today because he was deputy leader of the opposition under Siddaramaiah. But Jabir Ahmad Khan, who is close to Siddaramaiah, has joined the cabinet, and they are hoping that in the cabinet expansion, Mr. Khadr will get a chance.
Absolutely. Stay with us, Satish. We're also joined by B.S. Arun, senior journalist. Good afternoon to you, Arun. Now, after the brokering peace between DKS and Siddaramaiah, now in the cabinet, there needs to be peace between the ministers who support Sidda and DKS respectively, out of which 8 have been sworn in so far. I expect there are about 30 seats in that cabinet. How do you expect the split to go?
Well, I read in the newspapers and see in the TV channels that both these two leaders, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and his deputy Shivakumar, will be going to Delhi tonight or at the most tomorrow morning. This is obviously to discuss with the party high command the next set of ministers. A total of 34, including the Chief Minister, can be in the Council of Ministers. So the next step would be about the expansion of this cabinet. So that will be a Herculean task because, as you have seen, a large number of Lingayats, Vakaligas, people from a cross-section of the society representing various communities as well as religions have been elected as Congress MLAs. So now the task is to satisfy all these different groups and also give representation to various communities and the regions, and also like today we don't have a woman representative in the cabinet, and the women were among the foremost voters for this Congress party, and they have not found in this at least in this first tranche of the cabinet formation. I hope more women would be included. There are 4 women who have been elected from Congress, and some of them may find representation in the next expansion. So the task is on. These 2 leaders will be doing that exercise. Once the cabinet meeting takes place after this, Shabad Grahan, and then starts the jostling. For the already there are several reports of some of these senior leaders, senior leaders who have expressed some sort of dissatisfaction that they have not been considered for the ministership during this, today's swearing in. So I think we need to wait and see, of course, as to what happens, especially with the pulls and pressures for ministership in the Congress party and this government.
Absolutely, sir. Those cabinet ministers also being sworn in right now at that oath-taking ceremony. Ramalinga Reddy there, along with DKS. We also have Priyank Kharge, who has been sworn in. We have KJ George, Zamir Ahmed Khan as well, MB Patil, G Parmeshwara, Satish Jarikiholi, all of them being sworn in today. Visuals there on your screens. Just a short while ago, we saw the swearing in of Siddaramaiah.
Allah and my mother, solemnly affirm that I will be true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India by establish that I will uphold my sovereignty and integrity of India, that I will fulfill and consider discharge my duties as a minister for the state of Karnataka, that I will do the right to all the manners of people according to the Constitution of law, without fear and favor, affection, ill will. I, Zamir Ahmed Khan, do swear in name of Allah and my mother, solemnly affirm that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty. I, Zamir Ahmed Khan, do swear in name of Allah and my mother, solemnly affirm that I will not directly or indirectly connected or reveal of any person or persons any matter which shall be brought to the state of Karnataka state may be of due of discharge my duties as a minister.
That was Zamir Ahmed Khan who was being sworn in there. On your screens, you have the visuals of that oath-taking ceremony that is currently underway. It started with Siddaramaiah, then you had DKS was sworn in, and 8 ministers being sworn in right now. And all eyes on that first cabinet meeting when it happens, that cabinet expansion when it happens. Also, let's go across to Mr. Rashid Kidwai, who stays with us on this broadcast. Sir, a big win for Congress in Karnataka. Now the challenge is to translate this into seats when it comes to the Lok Sabha elections. What are the sort of lessons do you think they should have learned from these wins in Karnataka, and what are the sort of challenges you expect?
Yes, so I think the challenges are mostly internal because, of course, there is going to be Lok Sabha election 1 year from now. But Mr. D K Shivakumar in series of interviews said that he would not like to, address Mr. Siddaramaiah as a boss. They are colleagues. So there is a lot of thing about Deputy Chief Minister, who's also a senior minister by name of Deputy Chief Minister. So it's going to be a lot of tussle like it happened in Chhattisgarh and in Rajasthan. They're going to create a lot of problem. The problem is that Congress has to get a sizable number of Lok Sabha seats from Karnataka, which has 28 Lok Sabha seats. If Congress can get 15 or more, then it will help the Congress, and it will actually create a lot of difficulties for Narendra Modi-led BJP at the national level. But the thing is, who would get the credit? Because Mr. Siddaramaiah would want to showcase himself as the Chief Minister who brought Congress, to victory. And on the other hand, because Mr. Shivakumar is continuing as KPCC chief, so he would say that he's the architect. So I think we are going to see a lot of internal problems within the Congress. It requires a degree of maturity to get along as a Chief Minister and Deputy Chief Minister. But I see the pronouncements of Mr. Shivakumar, they don't seem to indicate in that direction. I mean, today is not a day to talk about it, but that's a long and short of it.
Okay. So you're absolutely right. You need to quell any sort of discontent internally. But those photo ops upon photo ops that we've been seeing of DKS and Sidda smiling, you have a Rahul Gandhi on stage in between the two of them, going across to my colleague DP Satish. Satish, now when it comes to anything, it is much memeified. And there were so many memes about this particular election when it came to Sidda and to DKS, and also very popular running joke that if it wasn't decided soon who was going to be CM, then Devendra Fadnavis was going to be taking a flight to Karnataka.
See, everyone knows that Mr. D K Shivakumar and Siddaramaiah share an uneasy relationship because they are from two different generations. And Siddaramaiah is 75 years old, D K Shivakumar is 61-year-old. And Siddaramaiah is from the socialist Janta Parivar background, and D K Shivakumar has always been a congressman. He started his career in the NSUI, and they are from two different castes also. Siddaramaiah is a Kuruba Shepherds, and he represents the backward classes. And D K Shivakumar is from upper caste, upper class, Wakkaliga from Kanakapura. And they had to work together, and they have been working together since 2006 after Siddaramaiah joined Congress. And as KPCC President D K Shivakumar and as leader of the opposition Siddaramaiah and D K Shivakumar have worked together, and they ran a very effective campaign, and that finally brought the Congress to power. And D K Shivakumar is a party man, and D K Shivakumar also knows that he can't cross party lines. Siddaramaiah also knows that he will have to listen to D K Shivakumar, and he will have to take him into consideration, he will have to take him into confidence and work together. And I think both of them will definitely work together in the interest of the party, because they...
ಗವರ್ನರ್ ಅವರು ಹೋದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ತಾವೆಲ್ಲ ತಾಳ್ಮೆಯಿಂದ ಇನ್ನು 5 ನಿಮಿಷ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ತಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಮನವಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ.
Stalin there presenting DKS for the shawl, now also commemorating Mallikarjun Kharge there. I believe the ministers as well have finished taking their oaths, and now that ceremony expecting to be concluded at Sri Kantarva Stadium. DKS currently speaking, and it is big day for Congress.
Of the Indian National Congress. Whatever the guarantee we have given, our Honorable Congress President Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge ji, Rahul ji, Priyanka ji will speak to you for few minutes. You have to please hear that. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಈಗ ಮಲ್ಲಿಕಾರ್ಜುನ್ ಖರ್ಗೆ ಸಾಹೇಬರು, ರಾಹುಲ್ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಅವರು, ಪ್ರಿಯಾಂಕಾ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಅವರು ನಾವು ನುಡಿದಂತ ಏನು ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನು ನಾವು ನಡಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾವು ಪದ್ಧತಿಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪವಿತ್ರವಾದ ನಾಡಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಉದ್ದೇಶಿಸಿ 1-2 ನಿಮಿಷ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ತಾವೆಲ್ಲ ತಾಳ್ಮೆಯಿಂದ ತಾವು ಇರಬೇಕು. ಬಂದಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾಯಕರುಗಳಿಗೆ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಐತಿಹಾಸಿಕವಾದಂಥ ಸಮಾರಂಭಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದು ಸಾಕ್ಷಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಅಭಿನಂದಿಸಿ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ನಾನು ಬಯಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ನಾಯಕರು ತಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಒಗ್ಗಟ್ಟಿನ ಪ್ರದರ್ಶನವನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
Going across to my colleague Ritu, who joins us live from Bengaluru. Good afternoon to you, Ritu. The oath-taking ceremony just about concluding. We're expected to listen in to Rahul Gandhi, Mallikarjun Kharge and Priyanka Gandhi in just a short while from now.
Well, you see, amid this whole show-off and that Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and also Deputy CM D K Shivakumar happens to take that oath, and alongside there were also many cabinet ministers as well, G Parmeshwar, Ramlika Reddy, C.H. Mugniyappa, Priyanka Kharge, Samir Ahmed Khan and others were among, who took this oath at the Kantirava Stadium. So we did see the kind of visuals. I mean, there were too much of colors there in at the Kantirava Stadium. So yes, this is the second time that Siddaramaiah took an oath at the Kantirava Stadium. Back in 2013, remember, there was a huge crowd. Similar visuals were seen that time as well. And this point in time, again, the same sort of visuals coming in. But yes, we do know that Sonia Gandhi couldn't wake up to this event.
ಶರತ್ ರೆಡಿ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ? ಶರತ್ ಬಚ್ಚೇಗೌಡ್ರೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಷನ್ ರೆಡಿ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ?
ಹಲೋ,
ನೀವೇ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
I believe they're looking for a translator before they can start those speeches. And while they sort that out, going back to my colleague Ritu was just talking about the sort of significance today holds for the Congress, but also we see two big leaders on stage, that is Siddaramaiah, DKS, matters solved and sorted amicably, but there's always that postscript of for now.
Very true. You see, even P. Parmeshwar, while speaking to CNN News 18, also said that, yes, this whole matter has been solved amicably now. But yes, he is also quite bit upset about the fact that the party did not consider him as in the Dalit face CM. And also, you see, MD Party, who was also hoping a deputy CM post, he too wasn't denied a post, deputy CM post. And that's the reason we did see their names in the first batch of the cabinet ministers. So yes, needs to be seen now how that the party will ensure that going forward the unity continues, because remember it's Lok Sabha elections which are now coming up, Lok Sabha election 2024, so which is again an important election for the Congress party, who really wants to carry forward this whole momentum as they have done it in the assembly elections. Now you remember what MB Patil had to say. He says that this time the party wants to ensure that there are more than 20 leaders who goes on to win in the Lok Sabha election. So that's the clear target that the Congress party is having. And ahead of all that, the party needs to ensure that they are going forward to a Lok Sabha election in that full unity. That's the quite fact also that, we did see D K Shivakumar's brother, D K Suresh, coming out and saying that there was all attempt to ensure that the party gives D K Shivakumar a CM post, and however the High Command did not agree to it. So that's the reason they had to settle down for the deputy CM post. But yes, D K Suresh wasn't looking quite happy about that whole declaration of the High Command. But however, you see D K Shivakumar, who started his political career at the age of 18 itself as an NSUI member. So till date, we have seen him the kind of loyalty that he has shown it to the party every time that the party had been in the crisis. So he had proved it all the way that from Karnataka, any state for that matter, the Congress party had been in a trouble. He had always lent his helping hand. So that's the reason you see the party could not really take any sort of a risk with the D K Shivakumar as well. So they really had to settle down to a matter saying that he would be the deputy CM and the only deputy CM at this point in time. That what we are given to understand as well needs to be seen whether or not that, from the couple of years from now, will there be a change in any sort of a scene as well, because D K Shivakumar and Siddaramaiah haven't come out openly to talk about that whole controversy as well, how that there was a completely back and forth right after Saturday with the party.
शरद पवार जी, नीतीश कुमार जी, स्टालिन जी, अशोक गहलोत जी, भूपेश बघेल जी, हेमंत सोरेन जी, सुखविंदर सिंह सुक्खू जी, सीताराम येचुरी जी, तेजस्वी यादव जी, फरूक अब्दुल्ला जी, डी राजा जी, अब्दुल शमाद समधानी जी, अनिल देसाई जी, जयंत चौधरी जी, दीपंकर भट्टाचार्य जी, डॉक्टर तिरुमावरियलन जी, कमल हसन जी, प्रेमचंद्र जी, प्रियंका गांधी जी, चीफ मिनिस्टर सिद्धरमैया जी, डी के शिवकुमार जी, स्टेज पे हमारे वरिष्ठ नेता, प्यारे कार्यकर्ता, भाइयों और बहनों, आप सबका यहाँ बहुत बहुत स्वागत, नमस्कार।
ಎಲ್ಲ ಗಣ್ಯಾತಿ ಗಣ್ಯರಿಗೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತನ ಕೋರ್ತಾ ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಸ್ವಾಗತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ।
कर्नाटक की जनता को मैं दिल से अपनी ओर से कांग्रेस पार्टी की ओर से धन्यवाद करता हूं।
ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಜೆಗಳಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಪಕ್ಷದ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ನನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನು ಅಭಿನಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ।
आपने पूरी तरह कांग्रेस पार्टी को समर्थन दिया।
ನೀವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಪಕ್ಷದ ಬೆಂಬಲಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಲ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ।
पिछले 5 सालों में आपने कौन सी मुश्किलें सही वो आप और हम जानते हैं।
ಕಳೆದ 5 ವರ್ಷಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಆದಂತ ತೊಂದರೆಗಳನ್ನ ಸಂಘರ್ಷಗಳನ್ನ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ।
मीडिया में बहुत लिखा गया कि ये चुनाव कांग्रेस पार्टी क्यों जीती।
ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಒಂದು ಸಮರ್ಥದಿಂದ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಪಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಚುನಾವಣೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಗೆಲುವಾಗಿದೆ।
अलग अलग एनालिसिस हुई, अलग अलग थियरियां चालू की गई।
ಕನ್ನಡ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಒಂದು ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಆಗಿದೆ।
इस जीत का सिर्फ एक कारण है, और ये कारण है कि कांग्रेस पार्टी कर्नाटक के गरीबों के साथ, कमजोरों के साथ, पिछड़ों के साथ, दलितों के साथ, आदिवासियों के साथ खड़ी हुई।
ಇವತ್ತು ಈ ಒಂದು ಗೆಲುವಿಗೆ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಪಕ್ಷ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಬಡವರ ಜೊತೆ, ದಲಿತರ ಜೊತೆ, ಹಿಂದುಳಿದವರ ಜೊತೆ, ಪರಿಶಿಷ್ಟ ಪಂಗಡದವರ ಜೊತೆ ನಿಂತಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಈ ಗೆಲುವಾಗಿದೆ.
हमारे पास सच्चाई थी और गरीब लोग थे.
ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಹಿಂದುಳಿದವರು, ಬಡವರು ನಿಂತಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
बीजेपी के पास धन, दौलत, पावर, पुलिस सारा कुछ था.
ಬಿಜೆಪಿ ಅವರ ಹತ್ರ ಆಸ್ತಿ, ಅಂತಸ್ತು, ಐಶ್ವರ್ಯ, ಕಾಸು, ಪೊಲೀಸು ಎಲ್ಲ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಗಳು ಬಿಜೆಪಿ ಅವರ ಹತ್ರ ಇತ್ತು.
और उनकी सारी की सारी ताकत को कर्नाटक की जनता ने हरा दिया.
ಆದ್ರೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಅವರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಗಳನ್ನ, ಕುತಂತ್ರಗಳನ್ನ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಜನತೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಪರಾಜಿತವಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಿದೀರಾ.
उनके भ्रष्टाचार को हरा दिया. उनके भ्रष्टाचार को हरा दिया.
ಇವತ್ತು ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಭ್ರಷ್ಟಾಚಾರನ ನೀವು ತಿರಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿ ಸೋಲಿಸಿದ್ದೀರಾ.
उनकी नफरत को हरा दिया.
ಇವತ್ತು ಅವರ ಒಂದು ದ್ವೇಷದ ರಾಜಕಾರಣನ ನೀವು ಸೋಲಿಸಿದ್ದೀರಾ.
जैसे हमने यात्रा में कहा था, नफरत को मिटाया, मोहब्बत जीती.
ಇವತ್ತು ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಪಕ್ಷ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾದಂತ ಸಂದೇಶ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ದ್ವೇಷನ ಮುಗಿಸಿ ಪ್ರೀತಿನ ಹರಡಿಸಿ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು
नफरत के बाजार में कर्नाटक ने लाखों मोहब्बत की दुकानें खोली हैं.
ಇವತ್ತು ಈ ಒಂದು ದ್ವೇಷನ ಮುಗಿಸೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಲಕ್ಷಾಂತರ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದವರು ತಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಕೂಡ ಶ್ರಮ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀರಾ.
पिछले 5 साल आपने भ्रष्टाचार सहा.
ಕಳೆದ 5 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ನೀವು ಭ್ರಷ್ಟಾಚಾರನ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ.
हमने आपसे 5 वायदे किए थे.
ನಾವು ನಿಮಗೆ 5 ವಚನಗಳನ್ನ, 5 ಪ್ರಮಾಣಗಳನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ.
पहला वायदा गृह लक्ष्मी 2000 रुपए हर महीने महिलाओं को.
ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಂತ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಆಶ್ವಾಸನೆ ಗೃಹಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಹೆಣ್ಮಗು ಕೂಡ 2000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಅಂತ.
दूसरा वायदा गृह ज्योति 200 यूनिट बिजली मुफ्त में.
ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಂತ ಎರಡನೇ ಮಾತು ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಗೃಹ ಜ್ಯೋತಿ 200 ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಉಚಿತವಾಗಿ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ.
तीसरा वायदा अन्न भाग्य 10 किलो चावल हर परिवार के मेंबर को.
ಮೂರನೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಂತ ಮಾತು ಅನ್ನಭಾಗ್ಯ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಕುಟುಂಬದ ಸದಸ್ಯರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ 10 ಕೆಜಿ ಅಕ್ಕಿ ಉಚಿತವಾಗಿ.
चौथा वायदा शक्ति, महिलाओं को फ्री बस ट्रैवल पूरे कर्नाटक में.
ನಾಲ್ಕನೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಂತ ಮಾತು ಉಚಿತವಾಗಿ ಮಹಿಳೆಯರಿಗೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬಸ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರವಾಸ ಉಚಿತ.
और 5वां वायदा युवा निधि 3000 रुपए हर महीने ग्रेजुएट्स को और 1500 रुपए डिप्लोमा होल्डर्स को.
5ನೇ ಆಶ್ವಾಸನ ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಯುವ ನಿಧಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಪದವೀಧರರಿಗೆ 3000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ, ಡಿಪ್ಲೊಮಾದವರಿಗೆ 1500 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ.
मैंने आपसे कहा था कि हम झूठे वायदे नहीं करते हैं.
ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಮಾತು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ, ನಾವು ಸುಳ್ಳು ಆಶ್ವಾಸನೆಗಳು ಕೊಡಂತವರಲ್ಲ.
जो हम कहते हैं हम कर दिखाते हैं.
ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಂತ ಮಾತನ್ನ ನುಡಿದಂತೆ ನಡೆಯಂತವ್ರು ನಾವು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೀವಿ.
1-2 घंटे में कर्नाटक की नई सरकार की पहली कैबिनेट मीटिंग होगी.
ಕೆಲವೇ ಗಂಟೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಪ್ರಪ್ರಥಮವಾದಂತ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಕ್ಯಾಬಿನೆಟ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ.
उस कैबिनेट मीटिंग में ये 5 हमारे जो वायदे हैं ये कानून बन जाएंगे.
ಆ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಯಾಬಿನೆಟ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಂತ 5 ಆಶ್ವಾಸನೆಗಳು ಕಾನೂನಾಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಬರುತ್ತೆ.
जो हम कहते हैं हम कर दिखाते हैं.
ನಾವು ನುಡಿದಂತೆ ನಡೆಯಂತವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಪಕ್ಷದವರು.
सरकार का लक्ष्य जो हमारे किसान हैं, मजदूर हैं, छोटे दुकानदार हैं, युवा हैं, उनकी रक्षा करना और उनके भविष्य को सुनहरा बनाना है.
ನಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಗುರಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ರೈತರು, ಕಿರಾಣಿ ಅಂಗಡಿದವರು, ಯುವಕರು, ವಿದ್ಯಾವಂತರು, ಉದ್ಯೋಗಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಂತವರು ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನೆರವಾಗಿ ನಿಂತ್ಕೋಬೇಕನ್ನಂಥದ್ದು.
हम आपको एक साफ सुथरी नॉन करप्ट सरकार देंगे.
ನಾವೊಂದು ಭ್ರಷ್ಟಾಚಾರ ಮುಕ್ತವಾದಂತ ಸುಸಂದರವಾದಂತ ಸರ್ಕಾರನ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಂತ ಆಶ್ವಾಸನೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ.
एक बार फिर कर्नाटक के हर युवा माताओं और बहनों को धन्यवाद.
ನಾನು ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಯುವಕರಿಗೆ, ಅಕ್ಕ ತಂಗಿಯಂದ್ರಿಗೆ, ತಾಯಂದ್ರಿಗೆ ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ.
आपने अपना प्यार और अपनी शक्ति कांग्रेस पार्टी को दी. हम इस बात को कभी नहीं भूलेंगे।
ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ವಿಶ್ವಾಸನ ಶಕ್ತಿನ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಪಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಕೂಡ ಮರೆಯಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾಗಲ್ಲ.
ये सरकार कर्नाटक की जनता की सरकार है, आपकी सरकार है.
ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಜನತೆಯ ಸರ್ಕಾರ, ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಸರ್ಕಾರ.
और ये दिल से आपके लिए काम करेगी.
ಇವರು ಮನಸ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ಶ್ರದ್ಧೆಯಾಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ದುಡಿತಾರೆ.
नमस्कार, जय हिंद.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ, ಜೈ ಹಿಂದ್.
ಈಗ ತಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಉದ್ದೇಶಿಸಿ ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಪಕ್ಷದ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರಾದಂತ ಮಲ್ಲಿಕಾರ್ಜುನ್ ಖರ್ಗೆ ಸಾಹೇಬರು ಒಂದು ಸಂದೇಶವನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಸೀನರಾದಂಥ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಚ್ಚುಮೆಚ್ಚಿನ ನಾಯಕರಾದಂಥ ಶ್ರೀ ರಾಹುಲ್ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿ ಅವರೇ, ಪ್ರಿಯಾಂಕಾ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಅವರೇ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳಾದ ಶ್ರೀ ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯನವರೇ ಹಾಗೂ ಉಪಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳಾದ ಶಿವಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವರೇ, ಹಿರಿಯ ನಾಯಕರಾದ ಈ ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಕುಳಿತಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ನಾಯಕರೇ, ವಿರೋಧ ಪಕ್ಷದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮುಖಂಡರೇ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇರಿದಂಥ ಬಂಧುಗಳೇ ಹಾಗೂ ಯುವ ಮಿತ್ರರೇ, ಮಾಧ್ಯಮದ ಬಂಧುಗಳೇ, ನಾನು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ರಾಹುಲ್ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿ ಅವರು ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ 5 ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿ ಯೋಜನೆ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಮತ್ತು ಮೊದಲನೇ ಕ್ಯಾಬಿನೆಟ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ನಲ್ಲೇ ಈ 5 ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದನ್ನು ವಾಗ್ದಾನವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅದರ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ನಾವು ಏನೇನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಆ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಇದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಹಿಂದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಆವಾಗಲೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿ ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ನಾವೇನು BJP ಹಂಗೆ ಹೇಳೋದೊಂದು ಮಾಡೋದೊಂದು ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿ ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಮಾತು ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಮೋದಿ ಅವರು ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರು ಯಾವಾಗ ಜಪಾನ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೋ ಆವಾಗ ಒಂದು ನೋಟ್ ಬಂದು ನೋಟಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಹೊಡೆಸಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಹೋದ ಸಲ ಜಪಾನ್ಗೆ ಆವಾಗ ₹1,000 ನೋಟ್ ಬಂದಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಈ ಸಾರಿ ಬಂದಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದು ದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಲಾಭ ಅದನ್ನು, ಅದರಿಂದ ನುಕ್ಸಾನಿದೆ, ಇದು ಯಾವುದು ಕೂಡ ಅವರು ತಿಳಿಯೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಆ ಒಂದು ಏನು ಒಂದು ನೋಟ್ ಬಂದಿ ಈ ಕೆಲಸ ಮೋದಿ ಅವರು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಈಗೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ದೇಶದ ಜನರಿಗೆ ತೊಂದರೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೆಲಸ ಅವರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಆದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಇವತ್ತು ರಾಹುಲ್ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿ ಅವರು ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ನಫರತ್, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಬ್ರಿಗೆ ನೋಡಿದ್ರು ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರಿಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಈಗ ಮುಂದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಇದು ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೀತಿಯ ಸರ್ಕಾರ, ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸರ್ಕಾರ. ನಾವು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದು ಮಾತ್ರ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ, ನಾವು ನುಡಿದಂತೆ ನಡೀತೇವೆ, 5 ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿ ನಾವು ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಜೈ ಹಿಂದ್, ಜೈ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ. ಈಗ ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯ ಸಾಹೇಬರು ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ತಮಗೆ ವಂದನೆಯನ್ನು ಸಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತಾರೆ.
ಎಐಸಿಸಿ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರಾದಂಥ ಮಾನ್ಯ ಮಲ್ಲಿಕಾರ್ಜುನ ಖರ್ಗೆ ಅವರೇ, ಎಐಸಿಸಿ ಮಾಜಿ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರಾದಂಥ ಶ್ರೀ ರಾಹುಲ್ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಅವರೇ, ಎಐಸಿಸಿ ಪ್ರಧಾನ ಕಾರ್ಯದರ್ಶಿಗಳಾದಂಥ ಪ್ರಿಯಾಂಕಾ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಅವರೇ, ಪ್ರದೇಶ್ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಸಮಿತಿಯ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರಾದಂಥ ಈಗ ಉಪಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಆದಂಥ ಡಿ ಕೆ ಶಿವಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವರೇ, ಎಐಸಿಸಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಧಾನ ಕಾರ್ಯದರ್ಶಿಗಳೇ, ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರದ ವಿವಿಧ ರಾಜ್ಯಗಳಿಂದ ಬಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳೇ, ಮಾಜಿ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳೇ,
greeting all
ಲೋಕಸಭಾ
the
ಸದಸ್ಯರೇ, ರಾಜ್ಯಸಭಾ
dignitaries who
ಸದಸ್ಯರೇ,
come to the swearing in ceremony.
ಇತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪಕ್ಷಗಳ ನಾಯಕರುಗಳೇ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೆರೆದಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ಬಂಧುಗಳೇ, ತಾಯಂದಿರೇ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಭಿಮಾನಿಗಳೇ, ಮಾಧ್ಯಮದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗೆಳೆಯರೇ,